Welcome to Casablanca, Morocco. Very welcome to this Casablanca event, Climate Finance Day in Casablanca. Glad to have you, all of you here, coming from several countries. This is a wonderful day because, first of all, I think this is the day that the Paris Agreement is enforced. And it's the same day that the finance community coming from worldwide trying to be in action.
Delighted to host over 500 participants from more than 30 different countries and nationalities, namely from Europe, North and South Americas, Asia, and of course, Africa. As a Pan-African financial center, Casablanca Finance City is committed to play a significant role, not only in shifting the global climate finance players and investors' attention to Africa, but also building an Africa-dedicated climate finance industry and framework likely to allow Africa to achieve a green and sustainable economic transformation.
L'intégration de ces composantes nécessite naturellement de l'investissement. Pour l'Afrique seule, on estime que le développement d'une énergie propre requerra entre 40 et 55 milliards de dollars par an d'ici à 2030. Que la construction d'infrastructures urbaines, eau, assainissement, transport urbain de qualité, va nécessiter entre 12 et 27 milliards de dollars. Il faut donc passer à la vitesse supérieure en matière de finances climatiques et durables. C'est pour toutes ces raisons que la COP22 a érigé la finance durable et climatique au rang de priorité majeure.
It's essential that all public and private national stakeholders, international organizations, and donors join forces to channel financial flows towards low carbon trajectory. At the national level, we believe that the climate financing issue is not the lack of financial resources, but the lack also of instruments for attracting private funding and its allocation to mitigation and adaptation targets. Banks, insurance companies, capital markets players, and other financial market participants have a major role to play in this respect. They are particularly challenged to be more innovative, to conceive and propose an attractive and diverse offer of green instruments and funding products, able to meet the financing needs in order to achieve the goals that we have set. The Casablanca Financial Center is certainly well positioned to play a leading role at the African level in the field of climate finance and in strengthening cooperation at the continental level in sustainable development.
Je pense qu'à travers la journée d'aujourd'hui, parler de la Finance Day, Climate Finance Day, c'est d'apporter un peu plus que légitimité, d'apporter un surplus d'âme à la finance. Parler du financement climatique, moi je le prends comme ça. Il s'agit aujourd'hui de continuer d'être innovant et la finance est appelée à jouer un rôle stratégique dans ce domaine pour permettre à ce projet de se faire, pour inventer de nouveaux mécanismes de financement, pour inventer de nouveaux mécanismes de canalisation de l'épargne où elle se trouve en faveur du développement et du développement du climat. Donc nous apporterons notre soutien au succès de Casa Finance City et j'en doute pas. Je suis heureux d'annoncer une opération qui s'est bouclée hier soir, donc je ne peux l'annoncer que ce matin. C'est une première. D'annoncer la première émission verte du Maroc et de ce que je sais probablement de l'Afrique. Elle a été bouclée hier soir pour financer 3 nouveaux projets photovoltaïques au Maroc, d'une capacité globale de 170 MW, situés à Ouarzazate, à Laayoune et à Boujdour. Première émission de 1,150 milliard de dirhams, un peu plus de 100... un peu plus de 100 millions d'euros garantis par l'État.
What we're seeing is a tremendous momentum since Paris. At the international level, the G20 this year, under China's leadership, has picked up the theme of green finance. We have the Financial Stability Board leading a process in terms of setting in place consistent disclosure requirements. And one of our panelists, Mark Lewis, is on that task force. At the national level, we're seeing a number of countries putting forward roadmaps for how to mobilize finance. China, an example, work in France, Italy also, but also here in Morocco. And then in the financial markets themselves, a real convergence of effort. We have $10 trillion of capital now disclosing carbon footprints through the Montreal Pledge. We have $600 billion of capital committed to reducing carbon emissions through the Portfolio Decarbonization Coalition. And we have over $55 billion this year of green bonds being issued, and initiatives such as the Green Infrastructure Investment Coalition trying to grow that market even further.
For example, have taken also the decision at our level, NG, to stop any construction of new coal plant. And by the way, we have, for example, two days ago, decided to close down our most important coal plant in Australia, which was said to say the most polluting coal plant in Australia, some were saying in the world.
If we don't do that, or the longer that we take to price climate risk properly, the greater the disruption to the financial system will be over time, and you will have this risk of very severe, violent repricing of risk and repricing of the value of assets.
You don't see a lot of interest in Africa when it comes to climate change factors, ESG factors, but happily this is changing. And people are becoming more aware of the need, not just to incorporate these principles into their day-to-day living, but as a policy maker, to also incorporate it into the regulations that govern these activities.
Heard a lot of talk already about finance. We've heard a talk about finance gaps. What I think perhaps has not yet been emphasized enough is that the role of the private sector in closing those gaps. They are enormous numbers that we're talking about in all sectors of the economy, in all parts of the globe. And we know one thing about those numbers: they cannot be bridged by the governments. Governments do not have that kind of money. They cannot be bridged by public sector institutions, even ones like I work for, the biggest one in the world. We do our 20 billion a year for climate, but that is still a small amount relative to what is.
We saw this morning Mazen announce a 1 billion dirham green bond, the first for Morocco. This is Morocco, this is not France. This is the beginning of an African revolution. It's not just a European revolution. We've seen President Buhari announce a green finance strategy, not just the green bond. We've seen the Kenyan Central Bank say that there will be green bonds from Kenya. We've seen the Rwandan Minister of Finance say they want to do a green bond. God knows how in Rwanda, but they have one institution. So it's an African story. It's a Latin American story.
We have a mission, all of us now, to get out and communicate to the financial markets that decisions that are being made now can destroy value, or they can create massive value. Money is still being poured into projects that they clearly don't make climate sense, but actually, what people don't realize is they do not make financial sense. Those projects will not only become stranded assets, they will destroy a huge amount of value for the investors and the share values of the companies making those investments. It is time now for the financial markets and shareholders and investors to stop being asleep at the wheel and to wake up to the reality that the world is changing.
Les financements publics existants peuvent être certes un premier levier. Je pense en particulier au Fonds pour l'environnement mondial, au Fonds pour l'adaptation et au Fonds vert pour le climat. Malheureusement, les mécanismes de financement internationaux prévus pour fournir les investissements nécessaires à l'utilisation durable des terres n'ont pas encore été déployés à l'échelle adéquate. Et les flux annuels de financement dans les secteurs liés à l'utilisation des terres ne représentent qu'une toute petite partie des investissements globaux dans ces mêmes secteurs. Selon une étude récente, environ 300 milliards de dollars sont nécessaires pour la restauration des forêts et des paysages pour atteindre l'objectif de neutralité en matière de dégradation des terres d'ici à 2030.
We will, in Marrakesh, encourage parties to explore a range of options and measures to enhance provision of significant finance and easier access to climate funds and other innovative finance mechanisms that will help African countries implement their agriculture adaptation programs.
So to meet the Sustainable Development Goals in the context of Paris, it's important that we have an energy transition that helps us drive this economic transition. This means that the energy transition is going to have to rapidly scale up energy productivity. We're going to need a new generation of institutions to manage our energy systems. We're going to need to think differently about energy services from a decentralized and decentralized perspective, and we're going to have to scale up the volume of renewables in the global energy mix. It's technically feasible. What we hear today is to talk about how do we finance that.
Le New Deal on Energy for Africa, le nouveau pacte sur l'énergie pour l'Afrique que la Banque africaine de développement est en train de mettre en œuvre est une réponse à ces défis liés à l'accès à l'électricité et à l'énergie de façon générale en Afrique.
It should be about not only quality, but also quantity. It should be about expanding African power system with cleaner energy, because there have been the situation that there is a severe power shortage, and also we should also take into account that there is a rapid power demand growth.
Delivering on the Paris Agreement, delivering on the Sustainable Development Goals, and of course the Addis Ababa billions to trillions requires us to really bring those investors into sustainable infrastructure in the developing world, particularly in Africa, given the huge infrastructure needs.
L'accélération, c'est ce qui est attendu de la finance climat. C'est ce qui est attendu de la finance verte, qui est tout simplement l'avenir de la finance, qui doit devenir la finance normale.